Welcome to the channel. Today, we're diving into the histories of several presidents who found themselves on the wrong side of the law. We'll explore their arrests or convictions and the impact on their careers and countries. Stay tuned to uncover the truth behind these high-profile cases. Ollanta Humala, Peru. Ollanta Humala served as the president of Peru from 2011 to 2016. His presidency focused on social inclusion and economic growth, but he later faced legal troubles. Humala and his wife, Nadine Heredia, were accused of receiving illegal campaign contributions from the Brazilian construction giant Odebrecht. The allegations included money laundering and bribery. In 2017, both Humala and Heredia were arrested and held in pre-trial detention for 9 months before being released pending trial. They were charged with money laundering and accepting $3 million from Odebrecht. The case against Humala and his wife is part of a broader investigation into corruption in Peru, which has implicated several other politicians and business leaders. Humala's legal troubles highlighted the pervasive issue of corruption in Latin American politics and the challenges of achieving political transparency and accountability. Jacob Zuma, South Africa. Jacob Zuma was the 4th president of South Africa, serving from 2009 to 2018. His presidency was mired in controversy and allegations of corruption. Zuma faced numerous charges related to corruption, racketeering, and fraud, particularly concerning a major arms deal during his tenure. These charges included accepting bribes from arms dealers and using his position to benefit private interests. In 2021, he was arrested for contempt of court after refusing to appear at a corruption inquiry. His arrest marked a significant moment in South Africa's ongoing struggle against corruption. Zuma's arrest led to widespread riots and violence, reflecting the deep-seated frustrations and divisions within South African society. This period of unrest highlighted the severe issues of corruption within the government and intensified political tensions, prompting calls for significant reforms. Alberto Fujimori, Peru. Alberto Fujimori was the president of Peru from 1990 to 2000. His presidency is remembered for both economic reforms and severe human rights abuses. Fujimori faced charges of human rights violations, including authorizing death squads that committed extrajudicial killings during his fight against insurgency. Additionally, he was involved in corruption and embezzlement of state funds. After fleeing to Japan, Fujimori was later arrested in Chile and extradited to Peru. He was sentenced to 25 years in prison for human rights abuses and corruption. His presidency remains a topic of intense debate in Peru, with some praising his economic policies and others condemning his authoritarian methods. Fujimori's arrest and conviction were landmark events, emphasizing the importance of justice and accountability, even for former heads of state. Park Geun-hye, South Korea. Park Geun-hye served as the 11th president of South Korea from 2013 until her impeachment in 2017. She was the country's first female president and the daughter of former President Park Chung-hee. Her presidency was cut short due to a corruption scandal involving her close confidant Choi Soon-sil. The scandal revealed that Park had allowed Choi to wield significant influence over state affairs, extorting money from major companies and interfering with governmental decisions. Park was impeached and subsequently removed from office. She was later convicted of corruption, coercion, and abuse of power, resulting in a 25-year prison sentence. The scandal and her subsequent conviction led to massive public protests, with millions of South Koreans demanding her resignation and accountability. Park's downfall prompted significant political reforms in South Korea and increased public scrutiny of presidential powers and government transparency. Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Brazil. Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, often known simply as Lula, served as the 35th and 38th president of Brazil. His presidency from 2003 to 2011 was marked by significant social and economic changes. Lula was embroiled in Operation Car Wash, a massive corruption investigation that shook Brazil to its core. The investigation uncovered widespread corruption involving government officials and major companies. He was convicted of money laundering and corruption, specifically for receiving an apartment and renovations from construction companies in exchange for political favors. Lula was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Following his release, Lula's political rights were restored, allowing him to run for office again. In a remarkable comeback, he was re-elected as president in 2022. Lula's imprisonment and subsequent return to politics sparked intense debate in Brazil, highlighting the deep political and social divides within the country. Nicolas Sarkozy, France. Nicolas Sarkozy was the president of France from 2007 to 2012. His presidency was marked by significant reforms but later overshadowed by legal issues. Sarkozy faced several legal charges, including allegations of receiving illegal campaign financing from Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi and from Liliane Bettencourt, heiress to the L'Oréal fortune. In 2021, Sarkozy was convicted of corruption and influence peddling, receiving a 3-year prison sentence, with 2 years suspended. He was found guilty of attempting to bribe a judge in exchange for information on a separate investigation. Sarkozy has appealed the conviction, and his legal battles continue to be a significant focus of his post-presidency life. His conviction underscored the importance of the rule of law in France and the need for ethical conduct in public office. Mohamed Morsi, Egypt. Mohamed Morsi served as the president of Egypt from 2012 to 2013. He was the first democratically elected president of Egypt but faced significant opposition and controversy. Morsi was ousted by the military in a coup d'état in 2013 and subsequently faced multiple charges, including inciting violence and espionage. In 2015, Morsi was sentenced to death for his role in a mass prison break during the 2011 revolution. He also received a life sentence for conspiring with foreign militant groups. Morsi's trials and convictions were widely criticized by international human rights organizations, which argued that the legal proceedings were politically motivated. Morsi's imprisonment and eventual death in custody in 2019 highlighted the political turmoil in Egypt and the ongoing struggle for democratic governance and human rights. Richard Nixon, United States. Richard Nixon served as the 37th President of the United States from 1969 to 1974. His time in office is often overshadowed by the Watergate scandal, a major political controversy that ultimately led to his resignation. The Watergate scandal began with a break-in at the Democratic National Committee headquarters and evolved into a full-blown cover-up involving the Nixon administration. This scandal exposed significant abuses of power. Although Nixon was not formally arrested, he faced potential charges including obstruction of justice for attempting to interfere with the investigation, abuse of power for using government agencies to obstruct the probe, and contempt of Congress for defying subpoenas. After resigning, Nixon was pardoned by his successor, Gerald Ford. This pardon spared him from prosecution and imprisonment but remained a contentious decision. The Watergate scandal had far-reaching effects, causing a profound loss of trust in the American government and leading to reforms aimed at increasing transparency and accountability in politics. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. See you next time.